Good morning, my friends. It is so great to be with you all. It's a glorious Tuesday morning. The ocean looks beautiful here in Southern California as we get ready to get you in touch with the very latest on the morning briefing. We got a lot to cover with you. Let's first of all start down there at 22nd Street Landing, where Sergio Davi has landed a 10,000-mile trip on an inflatable from Italy to 22nd Street Landing. He's here in the United States, and we will be doing a podcast a little bit later this morning. Can't wait to find out more about his encounter with pirates, bout with COVID, horribly rough seas, and so much more on this incredible adventure. This Italian explorer is a fascinating guy and a real gentleman. Can't wait to have him on his very first podcast since he made this incredible voyage, Friedman Adventures. Once again, feeling very, very honored. All right, I'm going to have more on that story as we move through the day today, but I want to get you caught up on the fishing and what's going on here on the West Coast. So let's start down there around Ensenada, where fishing is very good. You know, I catch myself saying, you know, it's not as good as it was, which is true. It's not that limit style fishing for the sport boats out of San Diego that it once was for everybody. Many boats still getting limits of these big quality fish, but some guys have missed here recently, and when I say missed, they're at a fish per rod. So what I'm trying to drive home is, while we're not at limits for everybody, it's still really excellent fishing. It's still going on down there, and it's still a superior grade of fish, like fish in the 40 to 200 pound class. Absolutely outstanding. Top Gun 80, 25 anglers on a 2.5 day trip, 65 yellowtail, 31 bluefin tuna, Polaris Supreme, 22 guys on a 2 day, 88 bluefin, 42 yellowtail. It's still really good. Now you're starting to hear a little bit more of that kelp patty yellowtail in the scenario, and that's great because first of all, it gives you a little bit of a mix of fishing. I like fishing for different species, and second, it gives you a little backup in case those bluefin are off the bite during the day. You can fish those yellows during the daytime, fish those bluefin at night, and all in all, still very, very good fishing. So some guys down below a fish per rod, other guys at limits. That's the mix we have right now. Before it was just limits, 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 and it's not that right now, but it's still very, very good fishing. You need to diversify your tackle a little bit, so you're definitely going to want to have some 30, 40 pound fluorocarbon to fish those kelp patty yellows with. And then, of course, the heavy. You want to have a 2-speed with 80 to 100 pound on it. The jigs at night, still very, very good. Sacanas or the flat falls and the knife jigs, anywhere from 100 grams, but most of the time like a 180 to 250 in that range. That's been super effective on these big, beautiful fish. And the weather down there in that neck of the woods, glorious. It's really beautiful. So weather is not going to mess anything up down in that neck of the woods. So very good fishing still on that bluefin tuna. While it's not limits for everybody, it's still outstanding, and that grade of fish looks really good. And with this nice weather, and as we move into summertime here shortly, we're going to see boats start to move out onto Tanner Bank, Cortez Bank, start to search out other areas, and who knows where these schools of bluefin are. I mean, we're going to have nuggets everywhere if this season progresses like it seems like it's going to do. It's going to be great fishing once that water temp warms up even a little bit more. So hang on. I think you're just getting a tip of the iceberg right now, and it's really going to start to rock and roll. Now, though, one day, boys, you know, the guys that leave at 6 a.m. and fish till 6 p.m. out of San Diego are starting to also get on that kelp patty yellowtail. So that's great news. Kelp patty yellows providing good action on many trips, sometimes really, really good. Sometimes you don't find the lucky kelp, and if you don't have the horseshoe, well, it's just one of those days. And they're also most of the time getting a few bluefin tuna, but the Liberty yesterday, 18 bluefin tuna, 18 on a trip that left at 6 a.m., fished till 6 p.m. That is outstanding fishing. You get a shot like that, and that is really magnificent. Man, it just makes me think ahead to the future. July 22nd, and then we have a trip in August, and we have a trip in September with my friend Bill Wilkerson on board the Malahini. Those Friedman Adventures trips were just so much fun last year. Bill's crew is great. Bill's fantastic. We had excellent fishing. I mean, all kinds of guys are coming back for those trips. So that should be a lot of fun, and it's good to see those 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. trips providing such great action. Once again, Sam De La Torre from Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California. Hey, happy birthday, Sam. I'd sing happy birthday if my voice wasn't shot. But Sam said, let us never lose sight of the fact that this is so special to leave at 6, come back at 6, a 12-hour trip, and have a chance at catching fish that you have to go on an 18-day trip to catch. So really some magnificent stuff going on in Liberty. Good going down there in that neck of the woods. San Diego yesterday, 35 anglers, 9 bluefin, 4 yellowtail. So it gives you an idea of the kind of scores we're seeing down there in that neck of the woods. A few big home guard yellows down there along the coast, as we'll talk about the coast a little bit. Out there at Todos Santos Island, not many people off Ensenada are out there fishing, but one private boater I know looked at it and had some nice, really nice yellowtail, 2 of them, and some good lingcod fishing also out there in that neck of the woods. But everybody's driving by the islands. They're going bluefin tuna fishing, but I thought I'd let you know that. Moving you up the coast, we've got some really nice weather, and you got to think there's anchovy around, maybe a barracuda bite by the weekend. I'm hoping for that. I'm praying for that. I'd love to see that gar stick around. They're fun to catch on the iron. If you take care of them, they're really good to eat. We'll have Chef Jason prepare some for you here as soon as they start biting. And once again, all that anchovy, all that feed makes me think that a bite on the barracuda is imminent. So we see a little bit of barracuda scattered all the way up past the Channel Islands, and potential of a decent bite taking place. We'll continue to monitor and watch that for you very, very closely. Calico bass, sand bass, a little bit going on, nothing wide open. Every once in a while, well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say nothing wide open on the legals. Once in a while down there at Dana Point, and I've talked to some private boaters, even though the water is cold up here around Furman, had good fishing on short fish with some legals mixed in with it. Again, water temp. We need it to warm up just a little bit more, and we'll be all over that bite. Can't wait for that to happen. All right, let's talk local islands here. Clemente, Catalina, Santa Barbara, San Nick. There is some really excellent fishing going on at a couple of those islands right now, and we'll see how this indeed progresses. Last night, don't tell anybody this, okay? Especially Tino Valentine, but I snuck on board the Freedom. I was creeping around the docks. Mike Morrison almost dialed 911, the manager at 22nd Street Landing, and I just wanted to look and see that glorious sight in the bait tank. Yes, live squid on the Freedom, and they are at the hot island. They're trying to keep a lid on where that is. I think the cat's out of the bag, but it's one of those islands out there, and I'll tell you, there's been some excellent halibut fishing going on out there. There's been good white sea bass fishing going on. There's yellowtail mixed in with it. You're fishing dropper loop, 50, 60 pound mono with a big 4050 size hook, and that has been the way to get it done. And I am thinking the Freedom with all that squid is probably in a bite right now, and I can't wait to see. I'll be down there at 22nd Street Landing. Maybe I'll hang out till Tino gets in and grab him for a quick interview tonight, but it really looks good. You saw the Endeavor the other day up there out of Ventura Harbor sport fishing with excellent fishing, so definitely headed in the right direction. I love fishing fluorocarbon at night though, or before the sun comes up. You don't need it. It really doesn't make a difference, and sometimes when you're fishing in that deep water, dropper looping, you don't need it either. But if you want to give yourself a little bit of an edge, www.opsonusa.com. Put FAN, Friedman Adventures, FAN at checkout for a free gift and a note from the owner of the company, Greg Brown. Always a good idea to have that along with you. There's been yo-yo ironfish, yellowtail primarily, and so you're going to fish heavy line there. You want to have some 30, 40 pound, but you want to have some 50 or 60 pound for sure on these trips right now. And there's been some outstanding fishing. The Pride was in on it yesterday out of 22nd Street Landing. Really, really good fishing. Hopefully that's going to continue to head in the right direction. Some of the other islands, Catalina, trying to straighten out. There's sea bass there, there's yellowtail there, there's calico bass there. But when I say straighten out, I mean that water needs to just clean up a little bit more, warm up a little bit more. There's been some really dud trips over there, really, really slow fishing, and there's been some pretty good signal over there. So you get the feeling cat's ready to go, and hopefully it won't be much longer. We'll continue to watch it. Same thing, Clemente, as we watch San Clemente Island, yellow strewn all up and down the front side of the island, the back side also. Some big bird schools of bonita rolling around there also. So that is really, really looking like it could get going here very, very soon. And again, Santa Barbara, San Nicolas, there has been some really excellent fishing going on in those venues. So we will keep our eyes on that for you very closely. Up there in the Channel Islands, Mirage, 13 guys, 6 halibut, 4 white sea bass, couple yellow sea biscuit, 13 guys, 13 white sea bass. That sounds like limits for the sea biscuit to me. 4 halibut to go along with it. Finally getting a little bit of good weather up there. We'll see how long that holds. We got to get out of this springtime nonsense with this weather, and those Channel Island boys should be able to get the job done. And once again, we're starting to see more squid starting to show up. You saw what they had on board the Freedom. That is excellent. Freedom going again tonight out of 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California. So you might want to jump on there if there's room. I don't know if there is. And he starts putting a big count up on the board here today. And that's going to go down the tubes for the rest of the week. So think about it and get on it. Met a guy last night in the ticket office named Jonathan. He's on board the Freedom, and I think this is like one of his first trips trying to catch a sea bass or a yellowtail. So I spent a little bit of time with him. Tony at 22nd Street Landing spent more time with him, talking to him about what to do and everything else. And I told him, when you walk on board the Freedom, there's an excellent crew. Please don't make it a secret that you're not exactly sure what's going on. Go find Gary or go find Trevor. Find the captain, Tino Valentine, and make it known that you're not exactly sure, and they'll help you. So can't wait to hear from Jonathan. I hope you did well, my friend, and I'll be watching that very, very closely. Back to the Channel Islands, local fishing. You know, we're on the Island Spirit, and I mentioned that it was just a magnificent trip because of the people on board, the crew excellent, the people on board. We caught enough rockfish for everybody to be happy. We saw some really ginormous schools of white sea bass on the machines, and we stopped on them and they didn't want to buy it at all. And we went in and made 1 halibut drift, got 1 short halibut for Aaron, his first halibut, so he was stoked even though we returned the thing. But there was some really good signal, and that could rock at any point in time. That could get going for the local boys also, some of those guys that leave in the morning, like the Island Spirit out of Ventura Harbor Sport Fishing, and the old Matt Walsh, which is now the California, and my buddy Steve Virtue runs that. Steve knows that zone like the back of his hand. You might want to jump on one of those. Ventura Harbor Sport Fishing, 805-676-3474. See, Cody, I still remember. So really good signal up there, good rockfish. Get the feeling that that local sea bass bite could get going. You saw the sea biscuit with a good shot, several other boats getting in on it. It's going to be a really big day today because we're going to be watching that and so much more for you all. And again, Sergio Davi, after that 10,000-mile voyage, I will have him on his first podcast here today and be sharing that with you probably this evening, maybe tomorrow, we'll see. All right, everybody, can't wait for this day to unfold. It's going to be beautiful. And before I forget, because it's right there knocking me in the head, look at that. Perfect surf fishing conditions. It is absolutely gorgeous in here. I mean, there's got to be some corvina floating around in the shallow areas. And remember, those corvina are right there. See that wave? There's corvina right there. They're in 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet of water. You can catch those things using mussel, ghost shrimp, dig up sandworms. It's a wonderful fish to catch. You stalk them, you see them. It's so cool to fish those things, and believe me, you'll have the time of your life. Fish the lighter line. Opsin fluorocarbon's got 6 pound now, so that's a good way to get it done. And remember, some good polarized glasses and walking and looking. You see those things kind of like swimming uphill, then run up there ahead of them and put that bait right in front of their nose, about 6 feet in front of their nose. So much fun. You get some exercise, you'll catch some fish, and those things fight pretty good. There's also yellowfin croaker, halibut, and spotfin croaker in here, and more species. We're starting to see a lot of guitar fish now, butterfly rays, all kinds of different species to spice up your day. And remember, this is so accessible and so inexpensive. If you're on a budget you're missing the great outdoors, you're missing fishing. You can get your fishing fix for relatively inexpensive. Get a Daiwa Fuego 3000 with the mag seal, protects you from intrusion of dirt, sand, anything else, and have at it. It is so much fun. I know you're gonna love it. All right, I'm off to 22nd Street Landing to spend the day down there. It should be a lot of fun. I'll keep you in touch with all the very, very latest as always. And as always, I hope you had a cup of coffee here this morning. And I deeply appreciate you choosing to take a few moments out of your day and spend them with me. Take care, my friends. It is the morning briefing every day here with Friedman Adventures. Take care, and I will see you soon.